The town of Hollow Pine had always feared the forest. They said it was cursed, that something evil lurked deep in the trees, watching, waiting. Once long ago, the big bad wolf had terrorized these lands. He'd devoured whole families, stalked villages in the dead of night, and left behind nothing but bones and blood. But the story always ended the same way. A brave woodsman drove an axe through the monster's heart. At least, that's what they told the children. But now, 70 years later, the house had returned, and people had started disappearing. It began with a sheep farmer, then a traveling merchant, then 2 children who wandered too close to the forest edge. No one saw them again, only claw marks in the dirt, only torn clothing in the trees. The townsfolk whispered that the wolf was back, but wolves don't live that long, do they? Riley was 19, sharp, quiet, and stubborn like her grandfather, the original woodsman, who had long since passed. She never believed in bedtime stories, never feared shadows. But after the 5th disappearance, she began to dream of glowing eyes in the dark and teeth too wide for any natural beast. One morning, she found a message scratched into the door of her cabin. Not dead, just waiting. She froze. That's what her grandfather used to say when talking about the wolf. Not gone, just waiting. She dug through the attic that day and found something she hadn't seen in years. Her grandmother's Red Riding cloak. The fabric was old, soaked in stories and maybe blood. Riley remembered the tale. Her grandmother had been the bait. Her beauty lured the wolf close, and her scream gave the woodsman time to strike. But the wolf had whispered something before it died. I know your scent. No one ever explained what that meant. But now the same scent ran through Riley's veins. She ventured into the forest with a blade strapped to her leg and a lantern in hand. Fog clung to the earth like it was alive. Every snap of a twig sounded like a bone breaking. Then she heard it. A low growl, not a howl, a warning, and the sound of something breathing just behind her. She spun. Nothing. Until a voice whispered from the shadows, "Granddaughter." He stepped into view, but he wasn't a wolf. He looked human, tall, pale, eyes gold as fire. His smile was full of hunger. I've worn many skins, he said, but yours will be the last. Riley didn't run. She knew running meant death. Instead, she faced him and said, You're not the wolf. You're something older. He laughed. Clever. The wolf was just my mask. A convenient tale for humans who need monsters to be simple. The creature revealed a truth. It had never died. The woodsman's axe had struck, yes, but the blade was silvered by moonlight, and moonlight is a temporary thing. He had waited, in the trees, in the bloodline. You are the final piece, he said. Let me in, and I will spare your town. Refuse, and I'll feast for another century. Riley realized then that the cloak, the blade, the stories, they were all warnings. Not to slay the wolf, but to bind it. She agreed. But as he stepped closer, she struck, not with the blade, with words. A spell carved into the lining of the cloak, something her grandmother had sewn in secretly, a curse designed to trap the creature in its reflection. The beast roared as his body froze, eyes wide, mouth twisted in fury. His form collapsed into the silver mirror Riley held high, trapped, forever.